school that the thing I was most passionate about was nature. I loved being outdoors, and I have really fond memories of being outside. I grew up in 7 different states, and so I got to experience a lot of different environments. And I remember, even as a kid, noticing those differences and wanting to learn as much as I could about them. Coming out of high school, I really had no idea what I wanted to do, but I knew I was passionate about nature. So I joined St. Joseph's University's biology program, and later on in the program, I realized I was more interested in the environmental science aspects of that. So I added that on as a double major. While I was at St. Joe's in undergrad, I participated in the Appalachian Experience, or APEX. So that was when groups of 20 or more students got together and for a week spent time in a different region of Appalachia doing different kinds of projects and spending time with the community there and getting to know them. So I ended up going twice. In the first year I did more construction projects, and the second year we did a lot of work renovating a thrift shop. But really, both experiences were just so beautiful because I was able to encounter so many individuals I wouldn't have been able to otherwise. And I was able to learn so much from them, but also from the fellow students who were with me on the trip. And it was just one of those experiences that felt so real to me. And from there, service just became one of my major passions. And I continued to pursue it at St. Joe's and after St. Joe's, and up until now, it's what's led me to landscape architecture. The year with AmeriCorps ended, and what I ended up doing was moving to New Jersey, where I taught outdoor education classes. So I was teaching things like science education and recreational activities like high ropes courses and archery and canoeing and all these things I never imagined I would be doing, but that were really incredible, and I loved it. But it was during that time that I started looking at programs and reading different articles, and I came across one that spoke to the positive benefits communities can have from open spaces in terms of like physical and mental health and how profound that can be. And I was totally fascinated by this, and as I continued to read about it, I learned that landscape architects are some of the professionals who can make that happen. So I mean, I was totally captivated. It seemed like all my interests were rolled into one profession I didn't even know existed. So I started looking at programs, and I saw that Temple, which is near me, had a program, and even better, they had a focus on ecological restoration, and that was just perfect because it tied in my science background, and it was everything I was looking for. So I applied. Temple's Masters of Landscape Architecture program is unique from other programs I was looking at because of its ecological restoration focus. I really didn't see that anywhere else, and I knew moving forward I wanted to go somewhere where I could utilize my science background. So it just made sense, and I found throughout the program that I've been able to use that background and expand that knowledge in so many ways, whether it was from the multitude of field trips I was on or all the different ecosystem classes I took. I've just learned so much, and it's totally made it worth it. For my capstone project for this third year final project of the program, I've partnered with Esperanza Health Center. They have 3 locations in Philadelphia, and their mission is to provide holistic health care to the underserved Latino communities in the city. So they've had a location in Kensington, but they were leasing a building. But last year, they ended up moving to a permanent location, and their goal is to create this health campus. So they started purchasing vacant lots surrounding the building, and their plan is to have those designed into these holistic open spaces that benefit not just the visitors of Esperanza, but the neighborhood as a whole. So I would say doing real world projects in Temple's program has been great, especially having the opportunity to collaborate with people, not just my classmates and professors, but with people who are interested in the project. And I would say I've experienced that most strongly with my capstone project with Esperanza. With them, I've been able to talk multiple times with the director of operations and the community of health and wellness team and some other residents in the neighborhood. This field is so diverse and expansive. It's just so incredible. It's the intersection of nature, science, art, culture, and there's just so many different directions you can go with that, whether it's designing public parks or residential spaces or doing solely ecological restoration. There's just so much you can do with it, and I would say just be open to learning as much as possible. Maybe your initial plans and ideas will change for what direction you ultimately want to go in. And then I guess I would say the other thing is you're just going to learn so much at Temple, I would guess any landscape architecture program, but for Temple in particular, with the ecological restoration focus, it's just a deep dive from the beginning. It's a 3-year program compared to 2 years at other grad schools. And in the beginning, you're learning the basics of design and all the plans. And then after that, you have to learn all the software. So I would say it's pretty overwhelming at times, but you'll get through it. It'll happen. And you'll learn so much along the way. I mean, I keep saying that, but I believe my time at Temple has really pushed and challenged me towards this drive to excellence, and it's definitely made me stronger in the end. The Olmsted Scholarship is through the Landscape Architecture Foundation, which is a national foundation, and each year they have programs around the nation nominate one graduating student who they believe has the most potential to enact positive change in the field of landscape architecture in the future. So my department nominated me, which I'm totally honored by. But if I received the awards, I could help design other spaces, and I can definitely get more involved with community outreach and finding out what it is that Kensington needs and what they're looking for. I would say my next steps look a little differently now with COVID-19, but I'm being optimistic. I'm applying far and wide, and I'm really open to a lot of possibilities. But I would say that ultimately I would like to work for a firm that positively impacts low-income communities. So eventually I think I would like to work for a nonprofit, but coming out of a landscape architecture program, I recognize I need to work under a professional for 2 years before I can take the licensing exam. So I'm applying to firms that are really expansive in terms of project type, just so I can learn as much as possible. So then 2 years from now I can take the exam and possibly work for a nonprofit.